And now the music's out. And welcome to my two viewers, Bob the Boomer Paxson and HIV positive transgender. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. I was working yesterday, got a job late. I had to leave here, drive up to White Plains, New York, which is about 60 miles north of here, pick up a piece and drive it down to Dulles, Virginia. This is probably my, I don't know, like 8th or 9th trip to Dulles since the beginning of the year. So, and I got to tell you, I am getting convinced that I'm going to spend more time driving back and forth to Dulles than anywhere else. It seems to me the government totally dominates everything. And with the chaos we got going on in DC, the vultures are going to just all swarm into DC and pluck the carcass of the republic, and that's going to mean planes need more stuff. Hey, Zoo, welcome to the show. I think I gave you a wrench as well. Make sure you got a wrench. And by the way, guys, remember, smash up that like button. If you're watching it live, or even if you're watching a rebroadcast later on in the week, make sure to smash that like button. So I don't think that they can take the likes away as quickly as they can take away other things, but it's a quick visual indicator that things are going my way, or at least that I was entertaining. So down here in the title is the title of tonight's stream is Milk and Honey. So I think about this a lot because I eat it every day, one way or another. Either I soak oatmeal flakes in milk and add cinnamon, sea salt, and honey to it, or if I have eggs, I'll have some Greek yogurt with honey afterwards. I eat milk and honey every day. And the reason why I do that is in honorarium to Zeus. So there's a myth that before Zeus became king of the gods, his father was named Kronos, right? And Kronos was not a nice guy at all. Kronos was the son of Uranos and Gaia, Uranos being the sky, Gaia being the earth. And Kronos I think he cut off his father's sex organ. He castrated his own father, separating the sky from the ground. And that kind of made him kind of like Lord of the Earth. And so one of the things he did, now that he was Lord of the Earth, was he took a wife. However, his wife was his sister named Rhea. And listen, you can't mess with Kronos because he's the baddest of the bad. And Kronos had a vision that one day one of his children would kill him or exile him. And so every time Rhea gave birth to a child, he would take the child and he would swallow it. And he would just swallow it whole. Didn't even chew. Just boom, right down. And so he swallowed Hades and Poseidon, Demeter, and I don't know, another one. And his wife, Rhea, who was also his sister, was like, this kind of sucks having my kid. I give birth and he just eats them. Like, what the fuck? And so she says that whatever, it's not going to happen with the next one. When she gives birth to the next baby, that's Zeus. And she hides Zeus away, and she takes a big rock and she wraps it up in baby clothes, swaddling clothes, and she gives it to Kronos, and he just swallows it. And meantime, Rhea goes down to the island of Crete, which we call it Crete. They call it Crete, but whatever. Real people call it Crete. And she hides the baby in a cave, deep in a cave in Crete. And she tells the people who live on the island to, when they hear the baby cry, that they should put on their helmets and their armor and their swords, and they should smash them together. They should run around and yell and smash their swords and their shields against each other every time the baby cries, so to hide the sound of the baby crying, so Kronos doesn't find out that Zeus is alive. And in the meantime, Zeus is fed on two things, milk and honey. This is what allows him to grow strong enough to eventually challenge his own father as Kronos' vision comes true. And Zeus, depending on which version of the myth you get, Zeus either kills his father or he exiles him to, I think it's Tuscany. So, and thus becomes chief among the gods of Olympus. But before he kills his father, he opens up his father's stomach and lets out Poseidon and Demeter and all the gods that, all his siblings who Kronos had swallowed. So in thinking of that, it's very much, we got to go straight to the Bitcoin thing. So let's look at this first. Let's start share screen. I don't know why this seems to work better on Mondays than Sundays, but I swear maybe the potato wallet I have is improved somewhat on Monday, but that doesn't explain the speed of my crappy laptop, does it? Yeah, so it's not helping the speed of my laptop, that's for sure. And this thing is going way slower than I want it to. So yeah, what happened? The last show, Bitcoin was 58,000. It crashed down to 43 and change, and is now, I think about as the time of the show, we were hovering right around 49,000, 48.9, 49.2, something like that. Somewhere in the neighborhood of that, and I'm not getting my emails now. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's beautiful. This is beautiful. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to show you guys, and if you're like me, you're old enough. Remember when Zeus versus Kronos was still on pay-per-view, and I'm not even seeing my own screen. Okay, here, we're going to switch to that, and as soon as I can get this up, I'm going to get this up. Add to come on. There we go. Okay, so this is a chart of Bitcoin in the 2017 parabolic bull run. So in the lower left-hand corner, I don't remember what Bitcoin started out the year as. Maybe it was something like as low as like $900. Then it ran up to a certain high, which I think was somewhere around 1,800 or 2,200. And then it dropped 38%. That first red arrow is a 38% drop from its previous high. And then it went into a trough, and then it gradually built and gradually built and gradually built to another peak, dropped another 38%, ran up to another peak, dropped another 37%, ran up to another peak, dropped another 38%. So you can see there were 6 times during the parabolic surge where Bitcoin went from 1,000 to 20,000. There were 6 times that the price dropped drastically, 35% or more. In this last drop from 58,000 to 43,000, I think it was just around 30%. It wasn't even the target people had was the technical analysts had was 40,600, but we didn't go that low. We only went to 43,000. So this is the way it's very likely to go this year. We're going to have a big run up. Everyone's going to be high. Everyone's going to be cruising around thinking, "Oh man, this is never going to end. This is the highest high. This is the best thing ever." And then it's going to drop suddenly. And if you're new to Bitcoin, if you don't believe in Bitcoin, if you think that the Federal Reserve is going to fix things, or we're going to have paper money with Adolf Hitler's picture on it, backed by gold bars, or I don't know, whatever you think is going to happen, you'll lose confidence. But if you understand that this is what's going to happen, it's going to run up and then correct, run up and then correct, and each time going higher, 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 and all the altcoins will go with it. That's Ethereum, that's Monero, Cardano, Bitcoin, Litecoin, all the rest of them. They're all going to run up because Bitcoin is king and everyone else follows it. So understand we're in for this probably at least another 5 times this year, although I don't think the corrections that so far this year have not been as steep as they were in 2017. Tom Anderson, welcome to the show, Tom Anderson. So that's that chart. Okay, now let's go back. Let's see what I have here. We got to understand. You have to understand that there's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts here. So this one was. Oh my God, this one was brilliant. This one, like we couldn't even write this. You would think like like Bitcoin put us to writing this stuff, but we are not. When Bitcoin dropped, right? When Bitcoin dropped, Janet Yellen immediately jumped all over and said, Yellen sounds warning about extremely inefficient Bitcoin. This was February 22nd. And then 2 days later, on February 24th, CNBC runs with this headline. The Fed system that allows banks to send money back and forth is down. Literally, like you would think someone like me wrote this headline, but these are real headlines. These are real headlines. And the reason why Janet Yellen is, of course, down on Bitcoin in every way is because they know that this challenges their system. They don't really believe it yet, but they think it's a propaganda war. They think it's something that they can win. And they're just starting to fight. And they're not, there's that Gandhi saying that, what is it? First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. They're done laughing and they're just starting the fighting phase. But they're way behind. So expect more of this. Every time Bitcoin dips, every time it corrects, what you're going to see is people are going to come out of the woodwork and tell you Bitcoin is over, it's finished, this is wrong with it, that's wrong with it. There's every sort of problem, and you should ignore that. And while they're telling you that, they are accumulating as much Bitcoin themselves as they possibly can. Here's another great screen share from the Vampire Squid themselves. Yes, the one and only Goldman Sachs. The one and only Goldman Sachs. All right, here's Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs, cryptocurrencies are not an asset class. That was 3 years ago. That was 2018. And just recently, Goldman Sachs, what does it say? Relaunching their crypto trading desk after a 3-year layoff. So Goldman Sachs, which, pissed all over Bitcoin and crypto is crap, generally. I just understand. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. It's Bitcoin and nothing else. It's the only thing that's going to be here 10 and 20 years from now. The rest of them, you may make money. They may be interesting projects, but the thing that is really going to be, that's going to have lasting value 20 years from now, 50 years from now is going to be Bitcoin, not Monero, not Cardano or Polkadot or Sushi or whatever else they're pushing. So understand that crypto is super dangerous. You could lose a lot of money. Only put money in that you are willing to lose. Any money you want to keep and grow, you put in Bitcoin. And then, like I said, if you got extra dough laying around that you want to play with, then you can let Goldman Sachs shill whatever they're going to shill. But they're just getting into this game. They're way behind, but they're just starting to fight. They're just starting to get into the fight level, right? And then there's, of course, where's the other one? Here's the other one. And as soon as it opens up, I will show it to you guys. So, yeah, there we go. Share screen. And come on, Chrome tab. Here we go, my man. And my main man. Jamie Dimon. Not Diamond, it's Jamie Dimon. He's actually Greek, Jamie Dimonopoulos, the most hated CEO on Wall Street. Why is he the most hated CEO? Probably because he's the only one who's not Jewish. Jamie, 2.5 years ago, Jamie Dimon, Bitcoin is a fraud. JP Morgan today. Hey, investors could make Bitcoin 1% of their portfolios. Every knee shall bend. I said this before. Every knee is going to bend. Everyone will bend. They will try to compete. They will try every trick in the book, and they will all fail. Bitcoin will kill them all. We will slay all of them. I'm not joking when I say Bitcoin is going to destroy the Federal Reserve. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's definitely going to happen. When Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, two banks that are certainly part of the Federal Reserve, of everything that's wrong with the economy and the world today, these two banks are at the center of all of these sort of things. JP Morgan is responsible for all the EBT payments, all the welfare payments and the WIC and the SNAP and all the wealth transfer from whites to non-whites, the subsidized housing, all of that. JP Morgan makes huge money off that. So, and they are now being forced to compete by their investors because MicroStrategy, the original software company that bought $450 worth of Bitcoin 5 months ago, the Michael Saylor company, has now made $2.2 billion off its Bitcoin investment. In fact, Tesla, since Tesla bought Bitcoin, because they bought it in the 30s, Tesla has made more money from Bitcoin than they have selling their little toy cars. So, and everybody notices this, everybody sees this, whether they're telling you that they're freaked out, that they're panicking, that they're pounding their desks or not. Don't listen to anything they say. Just watch what they do, because they are lying to you. They are lying to you. They are lying to you. And they're going to continue to lie to you as they try to get you to sell your Bitcoin, not buy Bitcoin, so they can get it all. And when Bitcoin passes $100,000, and it will this year pass $100,000, what they're going to tell you is, oh, it's too expensive. You'll never get any of it. It's not worth it to you. Don't even bother. You have to be a big corporation. Just forget about it. Don't even, here, buy this other crappy shitcoin instead. This other crappy crypto thing instead. And if you listen to them, you're going to be in trouble. So this is essentially what's happening in the financial universe, right? Okay. What you're seeing now, that's obviously an artist's representation of a black hole, right? A black hole sucks in everything around it. And in this artistic depiction, right about in the center of the image, there's a star that's being sucked into the black hole, and it's just chewing up the sun right near it. And here's what's really happening. This is what's happening in the world of finance. This is really what's happening. Come on, show me that what is coming up here. Okay, that's that black hole. MicroStrategy, the guy Michael Saylor company I just talked about, and Tesla is that little star that's being sucked up right now. You can see now at the very center of the black hole, there's the Bitcoin symbol. And then up here is the stock market, corporate treasuries, real estate, everything. Bitcoin is the black hole that will suck all of that in. It will eat all of that. It will destroy all of that. It is inevitable. There is no way they can beat this thing, because they are all frauds. They are all counterfeit. They are all unjust. And that there's a method of exchanging value that is just, that's, you can audit the transactions. It's transparent. They cannot compete with it. And they are going to lose on a scale that they can't imagine yet. But like I said, they're just starting to fight this. They're just starting to, oh, hey, yeah, we're getting back into crypto. Oh, you could put 1% of your portfolio in crypto. They're being forced into a fight that they can't win. And whether or not you're as visionary as I am, it's a very, very beautiful thing to see. All right, let me take a look in the chat. See what's going on in the chat. Jonathan Pohl, welcome to the show. Paxson, Paxson's going to open a artisanal bread company in South Jersey to sell San Francisco sourdough to all the crackheads that are wandering around Atlantic City streets, that literally with their eyes popping out of their head. Yeah. Listen, the problem though, I'm strongly advising you guys to put X. If you're going to do something with crypto, before you do something with crypto, get a grounding with Bitcoin. Remember, you do not have to buy an entire Bitcoin. You could buy a tenth of one, a 20th of one, a 50th of one. You could buy $100 worth. Do that first before you go gambling. You want to go gamble? Go ahead and gamble, but understand that you're gambling. You know what I mean? Tom Anderson, gold and silver aren't shit. Well, gold has value because gold is used in circuit boards. Circuit boards are in computers, and computers store and transmit and mine Bitcoin. So yeah, gold does have some value. But yeah, the idea of cashing out just doesn't make any sense. What would you cash out for? What currency is valuable? What currency holds its value? The euro, the dollar, the yen, the yuan? Which government can you trust not to devalue the currency so that you shift all your wealth into Chinese yuan, and then you know what? They just add 3 more zeros to the end of it. You know what I mean? And you just lost 90%. Why would you do that? Instead, now you want to argue, well, what is Bitcoin? Is it software code? Is it free speech? Is it property? Is it a currency? Whatever. This is still being worked out. But when I got my tax bill from the IRS last year, they taxed it like it was property. So if you have valuable property, right, you can borrow against that property. You can take out a mortgage against land that you own. If you own land in the digital economy, right, valuable real estate in the digital economy, Bitcoin, you know what? You can borrow any amount of fiat against your Bitcoin and do whatever you want. You can borrow fiat and pay back a fiat and never let go of your Bitcoin. You know what I mean? There's going to be opportunities we don't see yet. They're still coming. They're being built, and so just be patient. The more patient, the more low time preference you are, the better off you're going to be. What do we got? Oh yeah. Okay. So let's go a little bit to more. Speaking of which, current events. Trump at CPAC. A bunch of us, Jonathan Poll, myself, everybody on Twitter, we were losing followers left and right. Like Twitter was just taking followers from us because Trump was going to be at CPAC, and I don't know what they thought he was going to do, but he didn't do it. Like he ended up complaining that the left doesn't like women's sports or something. There was literally no great Trumpian quote. There was no quips. There was no smart ass Trump. He didn't come up with any zingers. He didn't come up with any verbal kill shots. He whined that the election was stolen. Yeah, we know. What are you going to do about it? When you were president, you had the power to stop all of these people. You had the power to stop all of them, and you didn't do it. So shut up. You're a loser. And what's he going to do? He says, "Well, I'm going to create America First candidates." Okay, so let's say he does that. Right? Let's say he does that. He's going to create America First candidates. Let me stop sharing screen. Reduce the resource load on. Oh, by the way, tonight's not an ouzo night. We're going with some grape juice. We're going with some a little bit of the grape. So Trump's going to what? He's going to have some congressional candidates who are going to do America First. If he does congressional candidates who are American First and they succeeded where he failed. So he's a loser, right? And if he gets these people elected into Congress and they're Israel First, which we know they're going to be Israel First because they're not going to get any money to run unless the Jews give them money to run, they're going to be failures. And then there goes all of Trumpism. He's finished. Open your mind to Ron DeSantis. Now, Ron DeSantis is just as much of an Israel Firster as anyone else, but understand he's the most likely candidate, the strongest candidate by far to amongst the Republicans, no matter what anyone else says. So Tom Anderson, Bitcoin going to $1 million. Yeah, probably maybe this year. They're talking about a super cycle, a gigantic cycle. Judas Fly Chai, welcome to the show. Girls can just go into porn and then they get out and become preschool teachers. Perhaps in Israel, my friend, but not so much in America. That may be the Israeli preschool teacher career track, but I don't think it flies in Peoria. Also, hilariously, Andrew Cuomo, right? Andrew Cuomo apparently all of these nursing homes are run by Orthodox Jews. Now they packed all these seniors in there and said that they died of COVID, whether they died of COVID or didn't die of COVID, and then Medicaid reimbursed them, I don't know, something like $14,000 a head or something like that, or some huge amount of money. So these nursing homes owned by Orthodox Jews made human sacrifices of your parents or your grandparents and got paid enormous money from the public treasury, from Medicaid, from that, right? Again, stealing from the treasury. Why do they steal from the treasury? Because that's where the money is, okay? And Cuomo let them do that, and Governor Murphy here in New Jersey let them do that, and I'm sure Whitmer in Michigan also let them do that, right? All these hard lockdown states where they force people into these nursing homes. You're going to find that the nursing homes, nobody's going to check, but enough people have on Twitter have looked into this. A lot of these nursing homes are run by Orthodox Jews, especially the ones in New York and New Jersey, and they all applied for whatever government reimbursement there was for saying somebody died of COVID. So they basically killed your parents, right? They killed the most vulnerable population. And let them die alone, isolated. Now, you didn't even get to visit them. And Andrew Cuomo let that happen. And he thought he was going to be rewarded. And they did to Cuomo what they did to Trump. Trump gave them everything they wanted. They threw him under the bus, right? Cuomo gave them everything they wanted, threw him under the bus. And I'm guessing something like that's going to happen with Murphy as well. So Cuomo all of a sudden is the sex harasser. He's the Me Too evil straight white male, and he's finished. And he doesn't even know it. It's the crazy thing is these people, they all know that you're in a room full of like snakes, and they all pretend like, no, they're not really snakes, or I don't know why I'm getting bit. Why are there fangs in my neck? You're in a room full of snakes, So, yes, it's true they cannot stop Bitcoin. Most of the arguments against the Bitcoin is primarily it's not the dollar. Not terribly well thought out arguments, many of which have been completely trashed before. If you want to see Bitcoin versus gold, there's Peter Schiff versus Anthony Pompliano. There's tons and tons of stuff here. But you have to be a little bit open to a different worldview than what you have. And listen, and I wouldn't force Bitcoin on anybody. You know what I mean? Bitcoin is the opposite of forcing people. You'll come to it, and when you come to it is when you realize how wrong you are. In the meantime, have fun staying poor. Have fun staying poor. Blah 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 blah. But that's and the other thing about Trump and CPAC, and they're all getting worked up over this, is that these guys really think that Trump represents some sort of threat to their system. I didn't do enough research today because I was busy I had to do a few other things. So I didn't get to do this research, but when I did this previous stream and I talked about the collapse of the Roman denarius, how the amount of silver in that coin went down and down and down, and it tracked through the wars that they had. And as the amount of silver in their silver coins shrunk to a very small percentage of silver, Rome collapsed. Well, it's the Byzantine Empire, Eastern Roman Empire. I didn't do all the research on this, but I'm going to find some charts on it. They used gold coins with I don't remember what the name of it was, but this was around the year 1000, and they were still hanging on for a while. But the amount of gold in their gold coins went from 90%, 90%, to 5% in 50 years. In a mere 50 years, the amount of gold went, there was almost no gold in the gold coins. Well, that's when the Eastern Roman Empire collapsed, and then the rise of a new empire emerged, and that was the Venetian Empire. So, the merchant empire of Venice. which lasted a long time, and obviously Shakespeare wrote about it. So I want to do a little more research on that before I do a stream on it. But the collapse of these big empires or these complex systems is directly tied to the ability to maintain the value of its currency. And in the days of gold and silver, you could either shave the coin or put less of the precious metal in the coin, so that you were taking the value out of the very thing you're using to exchange value, right? And that is unjust. And you can only screw people for so long before they won't play anymore. You know what I mean? And when they won't play anymore, guess what? It all collapses. And that's what's happening now with the US dollar. And there's no way you can tell me that they're not doing that, okay? I was just in the supermarket a few hours ago, and chopped meat, 80-20 ground beef in Stop and Shop is $4.19 a pound. $4.19 a pound. It's going to be over $5 a pound, probably by summer. So the currency debasement makes transacting impossible, which makes civilization impossible, right? You must, if people are not transacting, if they are not exchanging, there are no goods and services. The more of that is, the better off you are. But it has to be based on each party feeling like they got a fair shake. And when in between each party, or when the thumb of government is on one end of the scale, and the people at the top get extra and the people at the bottom get screwed, it's only a matter of time before it all collapses. And how soon that's going to happen here, I don't know. But it's going to happen, because the Federal Reserve is committed to printing as much money as they possibly can. They can't let the Chinese drop the price of their money so low that everyone buys products from China. So we got to make our stuff cheaper. Well, how do we make our stuff cheaper? Devalue the currency. Everybody's doing currency manipulations. It's a race to the bottom, and the least stable society will fall over first, and that's us. So the whole left versus right paradigm that the deep state sees populism as the real threat, they got it completely wrong. Their selective attention is on another magnetic personality, another Trump, maybe DeSantis or whomever, Tulsi Gabbard, pick whoever you want, taking power from them by making speeches and motivating the people and this and that. That's not how they're going to lose power. They're going to lose power because they're going to drive the value of the dollar so low that the political and social unrest is going to be so extreme they won't be able to control America, much less the empire. And then hopefully we get less of, what do we have? Let me click backwards here. Come on. We get less of this, right? It's crazy how things are going from being a meme to being reality so fast, and people's ability to tell exactly what's real and what is not real is going to be challenged in a big way. And that's why I said you got to have something like Bitcoin. You got to have something positive in your life that you can rely on, something that's certain. Here we go. Let's do it this way, right? This is the meme. This is a Predator drone, right? With Black Lives Matter on the nose, coexist on the body, an Antifa logo on one of the tail fins, and it's shooting rainbow-colored missiles at brown people in the Middle East. You know what I mean? There it is. This is America is back. Gay hellfire missiles slamming into sleepy little villages all across Syria with little, kids and 90-year-old women in them, making Syria safe for Israel and homosexuals, whatever other crackhead there is. But this is the meme, and very shortly after I saw this, I saw this, which I will show you, and this is the sort of thing where you think, oh, there's no way. Again, you get the sense like this can't possibly be happening this fast. But you can see that it is, in fact, happening. That is a real plane. I'm not sure what plane it is, but that's a real, 500-pound bomb, and it has a Black Lives Matter sticker on it. Do you think, that you're in some, some sleepy little agricultural area of Iran or Syria or whatever? Do you think it matters whether, the bomb that blows you and your family to smithereens says Black Lives Matter on it, or whatever, or anything else, or it says Trump 2024? Who cares? You're just as dead, right? Your family's destroyed. But when Joe Normie looks at this, they insanely feel pride. They're like, yes, look how inclusive we are, as we blast people who refuse to let the Rothschilds control their banks and let homosexuals parade down their main street. That's the difference between that first meme and this reality was like hours, between it's posted. So this is going to go faster and faster and faster, faster and faster and faster. All that deep fake stuff is coming back. Those videos of Tom Cruise running around doing magic tricks, and it looks just like Tom Cruise. I don't know who it is. It looks and sounds just like Tom Cruise. The more you're exposed to media and the bigger the screen, the less chance your brain has to fight back against this. And they will recreate reality for you in every moment, The party will be, eternally correct. What happened 5 minutes ago is, gone. It's not even a memory. It's been erased. And what's going to happen 5 minutes from now, they don't know, but they'll have a spin for it. This is, you're going to find millions and millions of people. You say, even if the people in the chat say, well, it's not us, I'm smarter, I'm hipper, I control how much media I see, I understand the narratives and who's pushing them. Okay, but you were surrounded by tens of thousands and hundreds and thousands and millions of people who don't know that. They believe what they see on TV. And you're going to be subject to whatever these people do. If they panic, if they get furious, if they whatever, if there's riots because of the George Floyd verdict, there's like $1 million, a couple of $1 million being given to social media influencers to spin a narrative about this court case. And that money's coming from the state. It's not even coming from George Soros anymore. It's coming from like the state of Minnesota. Or is it Missouri? Where is it? Missouri? What? Can't remember where George Floyd bought it. Who even cares? Worthless fucking Dindu. By the way, you can't type Dindu into any comments on YouTube anymore. It recognizes that term. So when you see Dindus acting like Dindus, you have to change what you type. If you even bother to comment, I just put reparations ceremony. You know what I mean? Whatever's happening when the good boy who's just about to turn his life around is beating some innocent light-skinned person into a pulp or robbing them at gunpoint or whatever. I just write reparations ceremony and move on. And and surprisingly, YouTube will let that stand and other people will see it and they're hip and they're like they're clicking likes. I get likes on YouTube, stupid YouTube comments like that because there's a wider underground of people who understand what's going on and not just these few little whack jobs that in this chat. So yeah, you need to stay ahead of them in terms of what euphemisms we're going to use to express ourselves, and understand that as people get more and more lost in the digital world and they can't tell up from down and left from right, that you're going to have to be smarter and more. You're going to have to step more cautiously, because you could get stampeded by the crowd, and you don't want that. But that's the reason why you stack Bitcoin. When they tell you don't buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. When Bitcoin drops, buy Bitcoin. You're not going to want to do it. You're going to go, oh my God, no, it's going down. What does it mean? Buy more. Buy more and buy more. When it hits 100,000, they're going to tell you, they're going to say, hey man, look at me. I'm a stockbroker guy. I drive a Lamborghini and I have a suit, and it's a $3,000 suit and it comes from Italy, and I'm smarter than you. So don't bother with Bitcoin, because it's too expensive. At $100,000, no one can afford that. That's corporate level at this point. It's just a corporate level digital treasury. So you just stay away. And as soon as you hear that, fucking buy. Buy. I just made the payment on the loan, on the loan I took out, in November. So, people said to me, oh, Bitcoin fell. I was like, Bitcoin fell. I bought it. I borrowed money from my bank and bought it at 13.7. So it fell to 49. Okay. Somehow I will have to live with that. Somehow I'm just going to have to live with those incredibly poor returns, that Bitcoin fell from 13 to 49 in 3 months. I guess I'm just a low IQ high school dropout who doesn't really understand things. No one you see on TV is your friend. No one on social media, unless you know these people, like the people that are all show up in the chat. You can't believe a word that they say, and it's very, very tough to push back against that. The longer you're in it, the more you're influenced by it. The lower your resistance to that. So you have to keep that in mind. Tom Anderson in the chat, and always make sure to buy more crypto while watching Jimmy Uzo streams. Yes, you should. You should. In fact, if you could have like a pedal bike, maybe you and Bob Paxson could get together, like, because he's a boomer, environmentalist or whatever the hell he is. Like he could get a sailboat, put some solar panels on a sailboat, and I don't know what he's going to do with that. But, and generate electricity to run an ASICs computer chip to mine Bitcoin while you're watching the stream. You should do that. You should get your pedal bike going. You'll get cardio. You'll get fit and strong, and you'll be making money at the same time. You have to find a way to strategize and maximize what it is you're doing, even if it's bizarre. And even I'm doing it. I started walking backwards everywhere. Not everywhere. I walk backwards up and down my stairs, and I walk backwards a lot because believe it or not, it's really good for your knees and ankles. And I spend way too much time sitting, and my knees and stuff are starting to hurt, and I'm like way too young for my knees to hurt. So I was looking at a bunch of rehab stuff on YouTube, and one of the things, there's a guy called Knees Over Toes guy. He's pitching a business, but a lot of his free content is pretty good content. And I just started walking backwards, like along the wall on the other side of here. I walk backwards, and I turn around and walk backwards, and turn around and walk backwards for like 7 minutes every morning. And my knees are feeling like way, way better. They click and pop a whole lot less. So oddball things, sometimes oddball things are just stupid oddball things. Sometimes oddball things work in your favor. And walking up and down stairs backwards is like, that is actually really, really good for your knees. But what have I think I've run out of stuff to say, at least run out of stuff to say for the moment. But yeah, Bitcoin, back to where are we at? Where just out of curiosity, where is it right now? As of the time of this broadcast, what does CoinDesk have it as? 48.750. Yeah, people sending Bitcoin. Listen, Zoo, people, like young people are going to send Bitcoin back and forth, and they're going to play with it and experiment with it. The smarter ones will buy it and hang on to it. Tesla's hanging on to it. MicroStrategy is hanging on to it. There was somebody, Zero Hedge, tweeted that Apple is going to buy in soon, but then the tweet vanished. So will they or won't they? But they did the same thing with Tesla. They were like 10 days early with the Tesla thing. They're like, Tesla bought Bitcoin, and then you didn't hear anything for 10 days, and then Tesla came out with it. So if Apple comes out with, oh, by the way, we bought $3 billion worth of Bitcoin, the race will truly be on, but young people, you have to remember, 20 to 40-year-olds, they lined up when the iPhone first came out, they stood in line at midnight to spend $600 for a phone, the first iPhone, you know what I mean? Which by the end of that year or 18 months later, the thing was a piece of junk. You couldn't sell it for $100, So it had lost 80% of its value in a year, and they didn't care. They lined up and bought the next one. Young people don't always make smart decisions. Not that older people make smart decisions. I know I've fucked up a few times, but hopefully you get smart and you learn from it. So Bitcoin is a stake in the digital future, and yes, you can send it around the globe. You can use it for as a payment system. You can use it a couple of different ways, but the best thing to do right now is buy it and hold it and just do nothing. It's going to be difficult to do nothing, but accumulate and do nothing, because as everything else falls away, whatever Bitcoin's going to become, whether it's digital property or digital gold or a currency or whatever, you want to be in a position to having more of it, than you do now. And the more of it you have, the greater your opportunities will be. And that's why you want to be like Zeus. You know what I mean? You got to hide in the cave, going with the milk and honey, until you're big enough and strong enough to take out, Kronos. That is what Bitcoin is doing. While the deep state thinks it's fighting Donald Trump thinks he's still relevant. All of these people are looking populism versus liberalism versus nationalism versus whatever. That's all fucking. You're literally wherever the action is, you're like in 2 zip codes away from it. You know what I mean? The forces that are going to drive change, that are going to push everything, aren't nationalism or ethno-nationalism or any of that shit. Nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? Oh, we all speak the same language. So what? Oh, we all get the same skin color. So what? What incentivizes behavior? What incentivizes behavior? And are the incentives, valid? Are they consistent and worth your time or not? And that's who's going to win. You know what I mean? Because you won't have enough. You're either going to have to slaughter everybody like the Soviets did or like the Chinese did. In which case, what could have said? You killed everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah, you didn't lose power, but you killed everybody. So you can't get people to do what you want them to do. And if they have the chance to, and I've said this before, you could be a rebel by owning $50 worth of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? While you're waiting online for your whatever government ramen noodles, whatever the Biden administration is going to give you when you can no longer afford meat. And the other thing, like talking about shop meat prices, this whole idea of synthetic meat or 3D printed meat, that's a bunch of shit. That's like those fucking robots from Boston Dynamics. They're shit. That's not going to happen. I have no idea how much synthetic meat costs per pound to produce, but I guarantee you it's 8 to 10 times higher than what real meat costs to produce. I mean, I realize you got to keep the cow alive and make sure it doesn't get hoof and mouth disease and whatever, but mostly you let the cow go eat grass for 2 years. You fatten it up in the last 3 weeks, you wash it, and then you kill it and you turn it into hamburgers. And that's still cheaper than whatever 3D printed meat is. So all of that stuff, I guarantee you, is a money loser. I guarantee you it's the green energy of food. Like those wind turbines that they have in Norway that freeze up in the winter, and then you have to send a helicopter out with the de-icing fluid to put on the wind turbine so that, because the blades get all iced up. That's it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The more they want it to work, the worse it is. And they will not be able to sustain this, and they won't be able to do it at scale. They just will not be able to do it at scale. It's insect proteins. Listen, it's all fun and games, but then they're not going to be. Everybody's going to have an ant farm. Are we going to become farmers? We're going to become ant farmers, and we're going to have chocolate coated ants like the French. Did the French actually eat that? I don't even know. That's what they used to say when we were kids. That the French eat chocolate covered ants. Does anybody remember that? So I don't know if that's true. That's if they're there. If they do that or they don't do that. Yeah, they can't scale this up. Zoo in the chat, James. I meant that they convert in between fiat and BTC constantly to move around funds and then to help facilitate ease of investments with fiat, but most of the earnings become Bitcoin again. Yeah, listen, I signed up for the Bitcoin credit card. You know what I mean? I spend $1,200 a month on my credit card at least, and there's the Gemini exchange is going to have a Bitcoin credit card's going to pay you 3% rewards in whatever you want, and I want 3% of Bitcoin. That'll be a way for me to actively keep stacking. And everyone's going to want to do that. Yeah, no one wants gold or silver. Of course, it's going to be confiscated by the authorities, and you can't move it anywhere. You know what I mean? These USB drives, this is a nail clipper, but it's not a USB drive, but it's about the size of one. You can have a USB drive this big with $10 million on it, $100 million on it. You can just put it in your pocket and go. No one will even know you have it. You could dress like me. You know what I mean? You could do like the Mark Zuckerberg sweat hoodie thing, right? And have $10 million in your pocket and no one will ever know. You know what I mean? And when you get to wherever you want to get to, boom, you plug it in and it's off to Lamborghini land and snorting cocaine out of the ass crack of a supermodel or whatever the fuck it is you want to do. So, and you can't do that with gold and silver. You can't even do that with big bundles of paper. This is the quicker people start figuring this out, the more things are going to change. But you need to become low time preference, right? Don't be in a rush. Sit back and see what opportunities come your way. Make sure they're legit opportunities, and then make your choices. And Bitcoin allows for that, whereas a shrinking dollar, every time you go to the supermarket, chopped meat is $3.50, $3.75, $4, $4.25, $4.50. Like as the dollar goes down, you look at this other thing that's either stable or going up. It's not going to be a tough choice. It's not going to be a tough choice at all. People are going to want to do all sorts of things for Bitcoin that they won't want to do for the dollar because the dollar won't be worth anything. I don't mess with any of the altcoins. Just do not mess with them at all. I had way back talking about transferring one coin to another. When I first started buying Bitcoin was in May of May 2017, something like that. Right, it was about $1,800 at the time. And I had to go to this place. I had to go to a physical place, hand them cash, and then they would put it on my phone because I didn't have the software updated or whatever. So I did that, and then I ended up putting it in a paper wallet, and I ended up having, at the time, it was like 3.14 Bitcoin before the August hard fork when Bitcoin Cash came out and they forked it. Well, Bitcoin Cash, in order to pump itself up, said whatever amount of Bitcoin you had, you will also have as much Bitcoin Cash. I didn't know that. I didn't even know what the hell it meant. And then when Bitcoin soared to 20,000, it peaked, went past, and then it was starting to drop. I was like, maybe I should get rid of this Bitcoin. And I saw somebody post something like, holy crap, Bitcoin Cash, blah, 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 blah. I just realized I have Bitcoin Cash because I bought Bitcoin before August. And I went, wait a minute, I bought Bitcoin before August. I was like, what the fuck? Do I have any of that? And I was like, how much? What is that? And at the time, Bitcoin Cash was like $3,000 a coin. You know what I mean? Because Bitcoin was 14. and I couldn't figure out. The wallet I had was Bitcoin only. It couldn't detect if there was Bitcoin Cash there. So this was crazy. I had to get another wallet, transfer the Bitcoin, which cost money, to the other wallet, which could detect if I had Bitcoin Cash. I did. I had the same amount of Bitcoin Cash as I had a Bitcoin, so I had 3.14 Bitcoin Cash. Then I had to open an account at Binance in Taiwan. I had to do this. I did this all in one night in like 9 hours. It took me forever. No one explained it to me. There were no tutorials on the internet, but I was determined to make this happen. Opened an account on Binance, sent the Bitcoin Cash to Binance, traded it for Bitcoin, sent the Bitcoin back to Gemini in New York, sold the Bitcoin, what used to be Bitcoin Cash, then sent the check to myself and used it to pay off my car. I had a car loan at the time. Paid off my car loan, and I got a tooth implant. I got like a $4,000 for a tooth implant. So, and I did it. That was free money from nowhere. And then 2 days later or 3 days later, I said, "What am I still hanging on to Bitcoin for? Let me get out of that." And I exited Bitcoin with some money, which I held on to up until when I was scammed. I added to and I held on to it up until I was scammed. So, yeah, all that old coin stuff. It's back then it was way more complicated. It's a lot easier and faster to lose your money these days on things you don't understand. And I don't, like I said, anything right now is sort of a winner if you have patience. You know what I mean? Link, Ethereum, Cardano, Monero, Litecoin, they're all going to more or less go up. However, that's if you want to play the trader game, the money market guy. I'm like you're a secret stock market operator or whatever. I'm a crypto genius. I'm not. I know I'm not. Considering how much I fucked up already in the last couple of years with this, I know I'm not a fucking genius with this shit. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take put my blinders on for one thing and one thing only: just stack Bitcoin as much as I can, whenever I can, and that's working so far for me. And I'm going to continue with it. It's not a super high rewards relative to other people, but it's very low risk, and I am kind of risk averse at this point. You know what I mean? A little bit risk averse after getting scammed out of 5.86 Bitcoin, just a touch. Once bitten. So yes, look at Tom Anderson going full maximalist in the chat. Tom Anderson, the Bitcoin maximalist. As like I said, everyone will come around to my way of thinking. What do I use Bitcoin to buy right now? Nothing. I use fiat to buy Bitcoin. HIV positive. I use US dollars, fiat currency, to buy Bitcoin. Okay. The value of the Bitcoin keeps going up. All right. And eventually it will be high enough that I will be able to borrow. Banks will come to me and say, "Here, take a suitcase full of cash. Just, we'll hold your Bitcoin as collateral, and I'll be able to take that suitcase full of cash and do something, and never have to give up my Bitcoin." It's like if you had farmland. Farmers, they don't sell their farmland. They lease it out. You know what I mean? They go, "I got an acre. You can rent out my farm, my acreage, for whatever, $8,000 an acre or something like that. Plant whatever you want to plant. I just own the land. You plant what you want to plant. You harvest it. You do all of that. I just own the land. You know what I mean? And you could do something like that for Bitcoin. You could say, "I own X amount of Bitcoin. You want to run an application, a financial application. You want to transfer money around the globe or whatever, and use Bitcoin as collateral and as a reward, as a compensation for me allowing you to use my collateral. I'm going to get whatever. I don't know. There'll be a way to do this securely." And then, you're like, "Yeah, okay, you can borrow my Bitcoin for this price." Something like that is likely to come up because you can settle things in 10 minutes or an hour for pennies on it. Like when Tesla bought their Bitcoin, they paid like $560 or something for $1 billion transfer that they got in 10 minutes. No banks can compete with this. No 3-day settlement, no tens of thousands of dollars in fees. So to send money around the globe with Bitcoin as the intermediary, right? You send out US dollars, it goes into Bitcoin and comes out as Italian lira. You know what I mean? You send Italian lira, it goes into Bitcoin and comes out as Japanese yen. The fees, there'll be some tiny fees for that. But since it happens in 10 minutes, if you got some Bitcoin and people just, bounce off it, tap off it, you could make money doing nothing. You could be, like the Mike Cernovich dream. You could be sitting at the beach making money or something else. I don't know. Let's let it be built. Remember the internet when dial-up was 14.4. The 14.4 modem, you remember? Right? And then we went to 28.8 modems. Whoa, this is crazy fast. 56.6. Whoa. Right? Look how fast you remember you used to click, if you want to see a picture of something on the internet, you would click on it and then go like make coffee. You would like go make coffee and like literally drink the entire cup of coffee, come back, and then the picture would finally be scrolling down the screen. And now look at what we're doing. So, and in a relatively short amount of time. So Bitcoin right now, you're like, gee, I don't know, what is it good for except as a way to store the value of my time and money. Right now, that's all it is, right? That's like a 14.4 modem. Cable modems are coming. The cable modem of Bitcoin, whatever the fuck that is, I don't know. Being able to barely send a picture from one computer to another computer, like, which took hours, and now we do live video, all around the world. All sorts of things are possible that we don't understand yet. Just accumulate Bitcoin, be patient, and wait for your opportunities to present themselves. That's my strategy, and that's a pretty good strategy. And if nothing else, the dollar will get weaker and Bitcoin will get stronger, and I'll sell my Bitcoin for a house or a business or something like that. You know what I mean? Bitcoin goes to $1 million. What business could you open? You know what I mean? Think it through. You could go from being an employee to a boss. Maybe you're going out of the fire into the frying pan, but you're still out of the fire. You got to be low time preference. Low time preference. How soon can you sell? What are you going to sell? When are you going to sell? What are you going to sell? What are you going to sell? That's high time preference. You got to be low time preference. You got to be patient and let it come to you, and it will come to you. Oh, but what about the guy 10 years ago? Yeah, I don't know about the guy 10 years ago. You're a man, Rick. Hey, what's up? You're not the guy 10 years ago, but 10 years from now, you want to be that guy. Yeah, man, what percentage do you have in crypto versus fiat? I have most of my pathetic wealth in, I don't know, percentage-wise. I actually do math. Listen, you're not talking to, I'm not Pythagoras or fucking Euclid. I'm the guy who tells stories. I'm not the guy who does the math. Almost everything I have is in Bitcoin. I have just enough money in my checking account to cover my bills and one or two minor emergencies, and that's that. Yeah, buy Bitcoin and hold it. Yeah, it's the easiest thing ever. It's the simplest thing. You landed on Manhattan Island and you got Manhattan Island for $24. Manhattan Island, when Christopher Columbus stole it from the Indians, didn't look like shit. Today it looks pretty good. Even as fucked up as it is, it looks like, hey, you really did something with that. So be a little bit patient. It's not going to take 200 years. You know what I mean? Especially as big as the corporate money moves in, they're gonna want to do things, and they're gonna have the money, the personnel, the resources to make things happen that the fanatics, which I consider myself one of them, don't have. So buy in. Hold, be patient. They will try and shake you out. They will tell you it's too expensive. It's only for corporations. It's dropped. It's unstable. They will do everything under the sun. Ignore them. They do not have your best interest at heart. They do not have your best interest at heart. They're trying to get you to shake your hands loose, right? You let it go, right? You let go of your Bitcoin, and it's gone, and it's never coming back. Okay, so hang on. The more they try to scare you, the more you hang on. The more they tell you it's not worth it, the more you buy. Like literally do the opposite of what they say. That meme, do the opposite of what they say, do the opposite of what they say. If they tell you to be scared, be confident. If they tell you to sell, buy more. The people telling you that are not your friends. They don't love you. They don't care about you. And that's why I said, that's why the longer you watch a screen and the more the more we live in this social media world, the more it affects your brain, like it or not. And you need to be very, very careful about what influences you respond to. Okay. Yeah, man, you showed up late, bro. Where were you? You're usually like the first guy in the chat. Like showing up you're very tardy. I'm gonna mark that down in your permanent record. Mark that down on your permanent record. Anyway, where are we going? Like an hour and 13. I'm trying to make these things shorter because I don't think people watch them all the way to like, who needs to watch me rant like a drunkard for 3 fucking hours? Even I can't watch that. I don't think there's really going to be any collapse, HIV positive. It's going to be not in the sense that you think there's going to be a collapse, but well, the problem with HIV positive, you're used to gambling. That's the problem. Bitcoin is not. It's the inverse of gambling. You know what I mean? It's the exact opposite of gambling. It's saving, and the problem with gamblers is they always think, well, I'll take my savings and I'll put it at risk, and I'll get a greater reward, and it almost never works out that way. You know what I mean? The one time they do hit, they forget all the times they lost. You know what I mean? They forget all the times they lost. I got tons of gambler stories from the days when I was in the taxi business. Tons of gambler stories, which I should probably tell, but not tonight. Not this night. Why is this night different from all other nights, James? Because whatever. It is coming up on midnight. I've been going for an hour and 15. So thank you guys for showing up. I am going to bail on you. Like I said, shorter streams are probably better. People will stick with them longer. And I don't want to repeat myself over much. What do we got? Zoo in the chat. I just hope Vitalik doesn't fuck up ETH GPU oriented development, especially with something. Okay, that's inside baseball with ETH. Yeah, good. Listen, if you mine it, sell it as soon as you can and buy Bitcoin. That is my suggestion to you, but you, as always, have to be an adult and make your own decisions. Anyway, guys, thank you for showing up. And remember, smash up that like button. If you're going to share this, tell your friends to smash up that like button because my ego is pleased when I see that. That's mostly what I look to see, how many likes the stream got, what the percentage is. So remember, smash the like button. And thanks for showing up. And I will talk to you guys again next week. Good night.